Foodstuffs North Island, which own New World, Pack and Save and Full Square outlets, have been fined $3.25 million for lodging anti-competitive covenants on land to exclude competitors. The judgment followed an investigation by the Commerce Commission into historical conduct that came to light during a 2022 market study that was into the grocery sector. It was alleged the company used land covenants to hinder rivals from opening or developing existing supermarkets in Newtown and Petone in Wellington and Tamatea in South Napier. Penalties for breaching the Act can cost a company up to $10 million, either by calculating 3 times the commercial gain derived from the breach or 10% of annual turnover, whichever of the two was greater. So we've got the CEO of Consumer New Zealand joining us now, Jon Duffy. Welcome in.
Thanks, Leah. How are you going?
I'm good. I appreciate you being here on a Friday, Jon. This is, I believe, the largest fine to date under Section 28 of the Commerce Act. Are you happy with the result?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can look at the profits that Foodstuffs make. You know, the supermarket industry in New Zealand's worth $25 billion. It's huge. You can look at their profits and go, well, this maybe is a drop in the bucket. But actually, when we look at the penalties that have been handed down by the courts for similar types of behaviour, the courts are actually, they're increasing the penalties, and that's what we need them to do because that's providing more of a deterrent. So, in the context of decisions that have gone before this is a really, really big and significant penalty, and hopefully marks a bit of a change by the courts to really start hitting anti-competitive companies in the back pocket.
So you dropped out just for a split second before, Jon. Did you say it was a $25 billion industry?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so 3.25 million. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Do you know how long the covenants on the land in the story were for?
Yeah, so they were 99-year covenants. A really significant period of time. And, Foodstuffs has said that it had no intention to breach the law here. And that may very well be the case. They may not have realised that the agreements that they were entering into here were illegal, but it's very difficult for them to argue that they weren't intending to block competitors coming into that market. Otherwise, why on earth would you put these types of covenants on land transactions? So they did know what they were doing here.
Yeah, you're right. They did release a statement saying that related to before Foodstuffs Wellington merged with Foodstuffs Auckland back in 2013. Then they reckon in 2021 they started lifting any remaining covenants, and then by January this year, goodness me, they removed any registered against the land. So they were basically saying, look, we were trying to make good, so hopefully they've learned their lesson. So do you know, Jon, if the commissioners looked into any of the other major players like Woolworths to see if they've tried the same trick?
Well, the Commission did a full market study, right? So the fact that these covenants existed came up as a result of the market study, and it's all very well for Foodstuffs to come out and go, well, in 2021 we stopped doing this. Well, in 2021 the Commerce Commission was actively investigating this, and it was very clear to everybody close to that investigation that this was going to be a major issue. So Foodstuffs were caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and it was only when they were caught that they stopped engaging in this type of behaviour. I'm not aware of any similar stuff with Woolworths, but you'd probably have to direct that question to the Commission.
Just on to something else, Jon, if we can. Consumer regularly receives complaints about misleading prices at major supermarkets. I understand the Commission currently is investigating pricing confusion. Is that right?
Yes, or actually outright misleading price representations by supermarkets. So we put a call out to consumers. Well, let's say the simplest example is probably where your baked beans are priced at 99 cents on the shelf, but you charge $2 when you get to the till, right? So that makes the shelf price misleading because the supermarket's not kept its till database up to date with what's on the shelf. kind of more subversively, there's a whole lot of practices that we see in supermarkets, both Woolworths and Foodstuffs brands, that is, in our view, designed to confuse consumers. So a good example of that would be 2-for-1 pricing, where if you buy the twin pack of something, it's actually more expensive than buying the single, pack of ginger nuts or something like that.
Yeah.
There's also an absolute barrage of different labels on our shelves that, everyday best price, club deal. Depending on which supermarket you're shopping at, the flavours do change, but there's just such an array of them. They're designed to send signals to us, but they don't always actually mean that something's on special, even though they might be creating that impression. And we think the Commission needs to have a good look at that, because it may cross the line into misleading people about the price of goods.
Okay. I've noticed, and they've done it quite a bit with eggs, because I go to, where do I go? Countdown? Is that? Yeah. Has that changed back to Woolies now? I don't know.
That's Woolworths now, yeah.
That's back to Woolworths, yeah. So you go along and it's got the price, and then there'll be other eggs, and it says, sorry, something along, there's no price here. But what's that about? Because I've noticed that on quite a few things. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's a trick.
I guess,
it's a trick.
Well, one school of thought would be that you can't mislead someone about the price of goods if you don't put the price on it. But that's not great business.
No.
And, we regularly hear the argument, and we heard it recently. You'd be aware that Foodstuffs South Island was in the gun for discounting liquor above the kind of legal limit for discounts.
Yep.
And an owner of a New World store was on the stand and said, hey, look, I've got something like 18,000 different product lines in my supermarket. I can't be expected to know the price of every one of those product lines. Actually, I don't accept that. You are in the business of running a grocery store. The absolute basics of running a grocery store is knowing what's in your store and how much you're charging your consumers for it. It's really not an excuse to say, we operate at scale, therefore some mistakes are acceptable.
They're going to happen.
They're actually not.
Yeah. No, it's not good enough. A grocery commissioner was appointed about a year ago now, but for many, John, I think financial stress in relation to food and groceries is still at an alarmingly high rate, isn't it?
Yeah, so we survey a nationally representative group of consumers every quarter, and we ask them what their top financial concerns are. And across every age bracket, food and groceries is the top financial concern, followed by kind of housing and rent, and then energy is probably the third one after that.
Wow.
So, yes, food and grocery prices are really hurting New Zealanders. And the conduct that Foodstuffs being fined for today, it's very difficult to say, it's caused, grocery prices to be at a certain level, but it certainly has impacted competition, and competition is what drives prices down. So by blocking competition, Foodstuffs maintains prices at an artificially high level.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all suffer when that happens.